The dining room was bathed in the soft glow of candlelight, the flickering flames casting delicate shadows on the walls. Gentle classical music floated through the air, blending with the faint clinking of cutlery against fine china. Everything seemed orchestrated to perfection, as if straight from a romantic film. She sank into her chair, watching him move with unusual attentiveness, pouring her wine with an almost exaggerated care, brushing a stray lock of hair from her face with a tender smile. He leaned closer, his voice low and warm, brushing against her I love you, more than anything. Her lips curved into a soft smile, a mixture of affection and instinctive caution. I love you too. But even amidst the serenity, something prickled at the edge of her mind. She caught him sneaking a glance at the soup bowl, eyes lingering a beat too long on the steaming golden liquid. The gentle curl of steam seemed to mock her growing unease. Her heart fluttered, not from romance, but from instinct, subtle and insistent. She took in the details, the way the light hit the crystal glass, the deep red of the wine, the faint aroma of herbs in the soup, all perfect, but too perfect. She felt the strange tension coiling beneath the surface, a whisper of doubt she couldn't shake. Her mind danced between trust and suspicion. Everything appeared flawless. The music, the flickering candles, his tender words, but behind that perfection, a shadow lingered, quiet yet unmistakable, and she felt it, like a pulse she couldn't ignore. As she stirred her wine absent-mindedly, memories of the past few weeks surfaced like warning signals. Small odd behaviors, once easily dismissed, now clicked into place like pieces of a puzzle. He had begun making secretive phone calls in corners, his voice lowering whenever she entered the room. Certain topics, money, his recent business trips, even casual mentions of friends, seemed to make him uncomfortable, his smiles too practiced, too deliberate. And now, tonight, he hovered near the kitchen counter longer than necessary, brushing past her just a little too close, his eyes flicking toward the steaming soup as if guarding it. Her instincts, sharp and insistent, whispered that something was wrong. She tried to quiet them, attributing her unease to imagination, yet a cold ripple ran down her spine. Every detail, the way he lingered, the small hesitation in his gestures, told a story her heart refused to ignore. She touched the rim of her glass and muttered to herself, almost in disbelief. Why does he keep asking me to taste the soup first? Is it just love, or something else? The aroma of the soup reached her next, warm, comforting at first, but mingled with a faint metallic tang she couldn't place. The herbs released their fragrant notes, yet something about it felt off, subtle but unmistakable. Her eyes traced the edges of the bowl. The surface shimmered like liquid gold, inviting yet suspicious. Her pulse quickened as he leaned casually against the counter, smiling, but there was a tension in his posture she couldn't ignore. The soft clink of utensils, the distant hum of the fridge, even the flicker of the candlelight seemed amplified in her heightened awareness. Anxiety coiled inside her, quiet but relentless. She realized the picture-perfect evening might be a careful mask, hiding intentions she had only begun to sense, a danger wrapped in a lover's smile. He approached with a warmth in his eyes that seemed genuine, a soft smile tugging at his lips. In his hands, the steaming bowl of soup glimmered in the candlelight, aromatic tendrils rising like a siren's call. He set it before her with exaggerated care, his fingers brushing the edge of the plate ever so slightly. Go on, taste it, my love. She returned his smile, soft and serene, hiding the storm of suspicion brewing inside. Every muscle in her body screamed caution, yet her face betrayed nothing. She, smiling, I love you, and I trust you. Internally, her mind worked like a clock, calculating, analyzing every possible risk. One wrong move, and this could be the end. But he has no idea I'm aware. I need to stay calm, careful, measured. Her hands moved deliberately, picking up the spoon with grace, her eyes never leaving his. The soup looked harmless, golden broth, flecks of herbs floating on the surface, tender vegetables softening in the steam. She inhaled its aroma, letting the comforting scent mask her suspicion, all while noting the faint metallic undertone she had smelled earlier. With a delicate motion, she took a tiny sip, barely touching her lips to the liquid, and placed it back in the bowl as if savoring the flavor. In the shadows of the kitchen, she had already prepared a small container, and with almost imperceptible movements, she secretly poured a portion of the soup into it, securing it for proof. Her heart pounded, not from fear alone, but from the thrill of staying one step ahead. To any observer, it looked like a simple, romantic dinner. But she knew better. The perfect surface hid danger beneath it, and every action now required precision, patience, and a careful smile. Alone in the quiet of her study, she set the small container on the desk, the portion of soup she had saved that evening now holding the key to everything. Her fingers trembled slightly as she examined it under the soft glow of the lamp. The metallic scent she had sensed before was stronger here, unmistakable, a poison, carefully hidden beneath the guise of a loving meal. Memories of the past weeks rushed back, each one now revealing its hidden meaning. The sudden gifts, the obsessive overprotectiveness, his insistence on tasting everything first. Everything that had once seemed thoughtful now shone in a darker light. So that's why the sudden gifts, the overprotectiveness, all a cover for this, she thought, a chill running down her spine. Anger surged alongside fear, each emotion battling within her. The man she had trusted, the one whose whispers of love had filled her evenings with warmth, had plotted against her with calculated precision. Betrayal wrapped around her heart like a vice, tightening with each flash of memory. Her home, once a sanctuary, now felt like a silent battlefield. Every shadow, every flicker of candlelight, every object she had casually touched that evening seemed significant. She imagined him moving unseen, his presence looming, and yet she was ready, aware, alert, prepared. Her resolve solidified as the truth settled in her mind. Fear was there, but it no longer paralyzed her. Anger was present, but it sharpened her focus. She was ready to turn this betrayal into proof, and proof into justice. The quiet of her home became her ally, the very space that had felt safe now a stage for her careful, determined strategy. She sat at her desk, the small container of soup before her like a ticking time bomb of truth. Every detail mattered now. The angle of the light, the shadows that might conceal it, even the faint scent lingering in the air. She took a deep breath, steadying herself, and began planning meticulously how to preserve the evidence. First, she labeled the sample clearly, marking the date, time, and context. Then, with deliberate hands, she photographed it from multiple angles, ensuring that every detail, the color, the texture, even the steam rising from the liquid, was captured. Each click of the camera shutter echoed in the otherwise silent room, a drumbeat of preparation. If anyone doubts me, this will show the truth, she thought, her pulse calm but her mind racing with contingencies. She secured the container in a small, lockable box she had prepared for emergencies, tucking it into the back of a closet behind other mundane items, confident it would remain unnoticed. Just then, the soft sound of footsteps made her freeze. He entered the room, casual, smiling, oblivious to her careful orchestration. He glanced around, his eyes scanning the room as if sensing something, but he did not see. To him, the study was the same, serene, quiet. She greeted him with a smile, warm and unassuming. She, softly, "Did you need something, love?" He shook his head, murmuring something about paperwork, and moved on. She exhaled silently, letting the tension release in small increments. Calmness lay on the surface like a mask, but beneath it, her mind raced. Contingency plans, escape routes, alternate hiding spots. Every move, Every glance, every sound became part of her strategy. She was in control now, fully aware that the slightest slip could undo everything. And yet, the knowledge of her advantage filled her with a quiet, dangerous satisfaction. Later that evening, the air in the house felt charged, a subtle tension threading through the quiet hum of daily life. She found him in the kitchen, idly wiping down the counter, his movements precise yet slightly jittery, betraying an underlying nervousness. It was time. Calmly, she leaned against the doorway, her expression serene, almost casual, but her mind was a blade of focus and calculation. Funny, I always trusted your cooking. Now I'm not so sure. The words were casual, almost teasing, but they carried a weight he couldn't ignore. His hand froze mid-wipe, a faint flicker of alarm crossing his face. Nervous laugh, what are you implying? Her eyes met his, steady and unwavering, revealing nothing yet suggesting everything. She let the silence stretch, letting her subtle words pierce deeper than accusations ever could. Every muscle in his body betrayed him. A slight shift of posture, a twitch of the jaw, a gulp too quick to be unnoticed. Internally, she savored the moment, a quiet thrill pulsing through her veins. He doesn't know I have the proof. He has no idea how much control I have now. This is my advantage, and I intend to keep it. The psychological battle unfolded like a slow, careful chess match. She tilted her head, allowing a shadow of doubt to settle over him without exposing her hand. His eyes flickered, searching for meaning in her calm demeanor, and she felt the subtle cracks in his act widen under the weight of her poised scrutiny. Every heartbeat was deliberate, every word measured. She maintained a serene exterior, but inside, her mind raced through every possible response, every contingency, and every trap she could set. She knew she had the leverage, and for the first time in weeks, she felt the power shift entirely in her favor. The predator he had hoped to be now found himself facing a calculated, composed force he had underestimated. By the next morning, clarity had settled over her like sunlight through frosted glass. She knew what had to be done. There was no room for hesitation or doubt. Justice, not vengeance, would guide her next steps. Carefully, she laid out her plan. Contact the authorities, document every piece of evidence meticulously, and ensure the poisoned sample could never be dismissed or destroyed. Her fingers hovered over the phone, heart steady but mind alert, as she dialed the trusted detective she had known for years. Every word was precise, each explanation carefully constructed. She described the evening, the soup, and the suspicious behaviors, emphasizing that proof existed and would be delivered safely. I smiled. I loved. And now, the law will do the rest, she murmured to herself, a whisper of calm determination mingled with lingering fear. Relief coursed through her, tempered by the sharp awareness of the danger that still lingered. She was finally taking control, transforming anxiety into strategy, emotion into action. Next, she prepared a trap. Hidden cameras, careful monitoring of the study, and additional secured copies of the soup sample created layers of protection. If he attempted to tamper with the evidence, it would be recorded, undeniable and irrefutable. Meanwhile, she noticed subtle changes in him. A glance lingered too long on her, a question too pointed, a hesitation in his steps. Suspicion had begun to creep into his mind, and she felt the thrill of being 2 steps ahead. Calm on the outside, she moved through her day with practiced normalcy, preparing meals, tending to her routine, while her mind orchestrated every contingency. Every move was calculated, every risk anticipated. The predator had become the prey, and she, once vulnerable, now wielded power with quiet precision, determined that justice would not just be served, but undeniable and absolute. The courtroom was hushed, a tense silence hanging in the air as she took her seat, the small container of soup safely secured in evidence. He sat across the room, restrained yet defiant, his confident facade crumbling as the weight of truth bore down. Every whisper, every glance, every carefully orchestrated smile from months ago now returned to haunt him in stark reality. When the case was called, she walked to the stand with measured steps, heart steady and mind clear. The preserved evidence was presented: photographs, labeled samples, and meticulously documented observations, all undeniable. The room absorbed the gravity of the proof, every juror and observer struck by its clarity. "Judge, this evidence is damning. Justice will be done." She allowed herself a small, controlled smile. In her mind, she reflected on that evening, the whispered "I love you," the steaming bowl of soup, and the calm smile she had offered in the face of betrayal. "I smiled back that night, not out of ignorance, but to survive," she reminded herself, a silent affirmation of strength and vigilance. Relief washed over her, mingling with a quiet pride. The naive trust she had once given so freely had been replaced with careful observation, patience, and deliberate action. Every fear, every pang of betrayal, every moment of suspense had led to this: justice upheld, power reclaimed, and the truth undeniable. As she stepped out of the courtroom, proof safely in hand, she felt lighter, freer. The sun reflected off the evidence container like a small beacon, symbolizing the victory not only over deceit but over her own vulnerability. For the first time in weeks, she truly smiled, not just at the end of danger, but at the empowerment she had earned, a quiet triumph of intelligence, courage, and resilience.